hindi talaga ako confident sa topic na to. Ayan. So, we will be talking about photosynthesis. So, you are already familiar with photosynthesis. I know that. That was discussed when you were in elementary. But since you're grade 9 now, you're high school now, so we will dig in deeper to what photosynthesis really is and what parts are really responsible in for photosynthesis to take place. So, mga 15 minutes, I will cover 3 days. So, please, kapag medyo hindi nagigets, please let me know. I will try my best na i-explain siya ng mas maayos at mas clear para sa inyo. Alright. So, for the introduction, bakit may mga ibang halaman siya? Okay. In order to sustain life, all organisms need light energy through the sunlight. Wait lang. I'll just start recording. Ay, naka-record na pala siya. Ay, naka-record na. Okay, sige. Ayan. However, not all can use light energy directly for life activities. So, plants and other chlorophyll-bearing organisms capture light energy and convert it into chemical energy that is stored in food. Okay, so why did I say plants and other chlorophyll-bearing organisms? It is because there are other organisms in our planet that has chlorophyll and can undergo photosynthesis, but they are not considered as plants. Examples of this are algae. Ayan, mga algae. Those are what do you call this? Those are organisms not considered as plants, pero they can produce their own food. Another examples are the phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons are microorganisms that are found on the sea or on the bodies of water, but they are not considered as plants. Okay. So what they do is they capture the light na nanggagaling sa sun. Tapos, kino-convert nila to into food that has chemical energy. Okay. So, as consumers, such as humans and other heterotrophic organisms, eat food from the producers, which are the plants. And other consumers, chemical energy stored from the food is transferred to their body. So, I know you are familiar with the food chain or the food web. So, meron dalawang klase ng organisms. We have the autotrophs and the heterotrophs. What do you mean by autotrophs? From the prefix auto, ibig sabihin own. So, autotrophs are also known as the producers because they are the ones that can make their own food. Syempre, ang pinaka-producer natin ay mga plants. Okay. As other consumers eat plants, we consider them as heterotrophs. Heterotrophs are organisms that eat on other organisms. For example, this one. This is a rabbit. So, yung rabbit, para magkaroon siya ng energy, kailangan niyang kumain ng plants. So, yung energy na na-convert ni plants from sunlight is matatransfer dun sa rabbit. So, aside from eating directly on plants, meron din tayong tinatawag na indirect heterotrophs. When we say indirect, ito yung mga organisms na kumakain ng iba pang organisms aside from plants. And usually, itong mga organisms na to, kumain na rin sila ng other organisms. or plants, which is, ganun pa rin naman, natatransfer pa rin naman yung energy na nakuha nila dun sa food na kinakain nila. Okay, so again, heterotrophs and autotrophs. So, heterotrophic organisms obtain energy by eating other organisms. Kakain ka ng ibang organisms. So, we are good examples. Not really good ha. But we are examples of heterotrophic organisms. So, they depend directly and indirectly on plants and other photosynthetic organisms for food. When we say directly, diretso kain ng plants or photosynthetic organisms. Kapag naman indirectly, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na kakain sila ng ibang organisms na nakakain na ng mga plants before eating them. Before you eat them. So that is direct and indirect. Okay. The food must be digested to simple forms. In grade 8, it was discussed that digestion takes place kasi yung mga molecules na kinakain natin, yung mga food na kinakain natin, we cannot take it in into our cells kasi sobrang lalaki niyang molecules. What we do or what our body does is it breaks down the food that we eat into simpler substances or into simpler molecules, such as, for example, the glucose or the sugar, the amino acids or the protein, and the triglycerides or the fat. Itong mga substances na to, they are small enough to enter the cells of our bodies. So once na-digest na sila, na-form na sila into this, it will be transported to our cells. Kasya na siya sa mga cells natin, especially the glucose. Glucose is an energy source of the cell. When we say energy source, ito yung reason bakit nakaka-work ng maayos yung mga cells natin. Imagine, di ba, pag isang buong araw kang hindi nakakain ng kanin, what happens, di ba? Matamlay tayo or wala tayong gana kasi gutom tayo, kasi wala tayong energy. Wala tayong sugar or the glucose that comes from the kanin. Is it understood? Do you understand?
Yes po.
Yes po. Okay, sige. And imagine, di ba, pag may mga times na pagod ka, pag may mga times na parang sobrang exhausted ng buhay mo, it's either gusto mong kumain ng kanin or gusto mong kumain ng matamis. Kasi, yun yung makakapagbigay ng energy sa cells natin. So, once the glucose are inside the cells, it will be broken down to release the stored energy or what we call as the ATP. So, ATP is short for adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate is a high-energy molecule needed by the working cells. So, kapag wala siyang na-produce na ATP, hindi magkaka-work ng maayos yung cells natin. Next is the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their food. Not just food, but their own food. So it is the process by which green plants use energy from the sun to transform water, carbon dioxide, and minerals into oxygen and organic compounds necessary to sustain life. Before I explain this, let me just define these terms. We have the raw materials, and we have the byproduct. Pag sinabi nating raw materials, these are the important materials needed for photosynthesis. Ito yung parang pinaka-ingredient ng plants para makapag-photosynthesis. Kapag naman sinabi nating byproducts, ito na yung final product final product or yung final result ng photosynthesis. Ito yung pinaka magagawa after ng photosynthesis. So, in this definition, So, ang ginagamit natin na raw materials ay water, ayan, merong energy from the sun, carbon dioxide, and minerals. And our byproducts will be oxygen that is needed by the animals for respiration and other organic compounds such as glucose. Okay. Question? No question? Okay, sige. Let us talk about the physical characteristics of the leaf. So, the leaf is one of the main parts of the plant. It is actually where photosynthesis takes place. Majority of the photosynthesis takes place. Okay. The leaf has an internal structures that help carry out the process of photosynthesis. If you're going to peel the layer of the leaf, makikita nyo na marami siyang parts under the microscope. Hindi yung naked eye. So, marami siyang microscopic na layers and parts. And each part of it is responsible for the photosynthesis. Let's start with the first one. We have the mesophyll. So, a mesophyll are the cells in the middle layer. So, ito yung inyong part ng leaf. For example, itong part na to sa gitna, this is the mesophyll. This is the primary site of the photosynthesis. So, itong mga cells na yan, mesophyll yan. Those are the mesophyll cells. Yan. Okay. Next, we have the stomata. So, the stomata, ang plural ng stomata is the stoma. It is found on the surface of the leaves in most plants. Most commonly, nandun siya sa ilalim ng leaves para maging protected. So, these are small pores on the leaves, on the surface of the leaves, where it allows carbon dioxide to diffuse into the mesophyll and diffuse oxygen out. So, this is the stomata. Itong part na to. As you can see, meron siyang hole dito or meron siyang pore dito sa gitna. So, sa pore na yan, papasok si carbon dioxide. Kakalat siya dito sa mesophyll. Kailangan niyang ikalat yung carbon dioxide kasi yung carbon dioxide yung needed ng plants para mag-breathe. Afterwards, dun sa same place na yon, doon lalabas yung oxygen. And the oxygen will diffuse outside, which will be used by the animals para sa respiration. Okay? Nagigets? Walang nagtatanong? So, kung walang nagtatanong, I will assume that you get it. Okay. Next is the chloroplast. Chloroplasts are organelles found in every mesophyll cell. Actually, the chloroplast is one of the two parts of the plant cell that cannot be found in the animal cells. So, it is the one that indicates the color of the leaves or the plant. So, from the word chloro means color. So, siya yung nagsasabi kung anong color ng plant. Ito ba yung orange, gaya ng carrot? Ito ba ay yellow, gaya ng squash? Ito ba ay red, gaya ng strawberry? Ito ba ay green or blue or whatever? So, basta, chloroplast yun. So, it is specialized to carry out the reactions of photosynthesis. So, bawat mesophyll ay merong chloroplast. Ito si chloroplast. Okay. Next is the chlorophyll. So, I know you are already familiar with the chlorophyll. So, for the green plants, this is the green-colored pigments on the membrane of the thylakoids. So, ito, yung parang disc na to, yung parang circle na yan, ang tawag dyan ay thylakoid. So, yung membrane na yan, when you say membrane, that's the covering, that's the envelope. Meron siyang chlorophyll. And this chlorophyll gives the plant the green color, especially the leaves. So, the main function of the chlorophyll is to absorb light from the sun. So, it gives the plant its green color. However, not all plants are green. So, may mga plants na orange, may mga plants na red, green, blue, red, blue, yellow, ganyan. So, meron silang pigment, pero hindi na chlorophyll yung tawag. May iba na silang terms, I just forgot anong tawag sa kanila. Siguro pag naalala ko, share ko sa inyo. Okay. So, again, the chlorophyll is the one that traps the light or absorbs the light from the sun. Nandun siya sa membrane ng thylakoids. Then, we have the stroma. So, ito ay thylakoid, no? Yung mga bilog na yan, those are what we call the thylakoids. Pag itong mga bilog na to ay magkakasama, ang tawag dyan ay grana or granum. Okay? And yung space between each grana, itong mga space na to, yan, we call that as the stroma. So, it is where the light-independent reaction takes place. When we say light-independent reaction, it is the process by which the plant does not need the light from the sun para mag-undergo ng photosynthesis. Okay. The thylakoid space is the space inside the thylakoid disc. Thylakoid membrane, it is where the light-dependent reaction takes place. When you say light-dependent, you depend on the light. Ibig sabihin, kailangan niya ng light para matapos yung photosynthesis process niya. Okay? Alright. Question? You have? Wala pa din? Okay. Next, what do we mean by the light-dependent and light-independent reactions? So, medyo, please understand kasi, medyo mahirap siyang i-explain kasi medyo komplikado siya. Alright. When we see light-dependent reaction, it happens in the presence of the light. Dependent, kailangan niya ng presence ng light. So, it occurs in the thylakoid membrane, so yung covering ng thylakoid, and converts light energy to chemical energy. So, bakit kino-convert niya yung light energy? Again, kung maaalala nyo, thylakoid membrane consists of the chlorophyll. And the chlorophyll is the one that traps the light from the sun. At yung light na yon, i-convert niya to chemical energy. So there are different processes of light-dependent reactions. First one is the chlorophyll photoactivation. What do we mean by chlorophyll photoactivation? So in this process, chlorophyll captures the light from the sun. So, ito yung light from the sun. Ito si chlorophyll. Capture na yan. Hindi ka na makakatakas. Nandyan ka na kay chlorophyll. So, after capturing the light from the sun, the chlorophyll will now release the energized electrons. So, maglalabas siya ng electrons, which is energized. Tandaan ha, pag sinabi nating energized electrons, these are excited electrons. In short, makukulit na electrons to naggalaw ng galaw. Okay? Nag-gets ba ako? Okay na. Walang nagtatanong ha. Sige. Next, after chlorophyll photoactivation, we have the photolysis. Photolysis or the photolysis. So, in this part, water is a raw material. So, can you still remember yung diniscuss ko kanina, the raw material and the byproduct? So, in photolysis, water facilitates the formation of free electrons and oxygen. So, kapag medyo nainitan si water, ang mangyayari, it will split into two elements. Mag-split siya into hydrogen and to oxygen, wherein oxygen is our byproduct. Ito na yung final product from this process. Aside from the hydrogen and the oxygen na nakuha natin, meron tayong electrons na makukuha din. But then, these are just free electrons. Hindi siya kagaya ng kanina sa chlorophyll na energized. So, simpleng electrons lang siya na release, tapos na. Again, water, mag-release ng free electrons. Hydrogen, which is not very useful in some activities. And oxygen, which is the byproduct. Paano siya naging byproduct? Kasi itong oxygen na to, gagamitin siya ng animals for respiration. Understood? Okay. Lastly, we have the photophosphorylation. So, after releasing the excited electrons in the hydrogen from chlorophyll photoactivation and photolysis, sila ay ma-form into energy. So, we will be harvesting ATP and NADPH from those two processes. As you can see, lahat ng processes ay may prefix na photo. Photo, which means light. Kasi these processes need light para matapos siya. Okay? Is it understood? So, para saan yung ATP and the NADPH? Itong energies na to, these are needed products on the next stage to complete the photosynthetic process. So, kailangan na siya dun sa next step ng photosynthesis. So, hindi siya pwedeng masayang, hindi siya pwedeng mawala. Okay. By the way, NADPH means yung ATP na discuss ko na kanina, no, adenosine triphosphate. Si NADPH, pasensya na ha. Diyan lang ako magsusulat kasi wala tayong sulatan. So, yung NADPH, ang ibig sabihin niyan is nicotinamide, adenine, ano yun, dinucleotide, phosphate, hydrogen. So, that is what NADPH stand for. So, NADPH and ATP, kailangan siya for the next stage, which is the light-independent reaction. Before I proceed to the light-independent reaction, do you have any questions sa light-dependent reaction? Wala naman question? Walang question na, bala kayo dyan. Okay. So, what do you mean by light-independent reaction? Light-independent reaction is also known as the Calvin cycle or the dark reaction. Why dark reaction? Because it does not need light for it to complete the process. So, kala niyo photosynthesis, kailangan lang ng sunlight, no? Nangyayari din siya kapag walang sunlight. So, it takes place in the stroma. Again, pag sinabi nating stroma, ito yung fluid spaces between the thylakoids. Ito yung mga spaces between the thylakoids or the grana. It converts carbon dioxide into sugar. So, in short, si carbon dioxide yung ating raw material and si sugar yung ating byproduct. Para lang maintindihan niyo siya habang maaga. na sa light-independent reaction, kailangan ng plants ng carbon dioxide, which is the raw material, para makapag-produce ng sugar. So, itong sugar na to, ito na yung food ng plant. Ito na yung food dun sa plant. Usually, may kita nyo siya, parang white siya na powder dun sa dahon ng mga plants. So, it does not directly need light, but needs the energy produced by light reaction, which is the NADPH and the ATP. So, kanina, saan ang galing yung ATP at sa NADPH? Dun sa light-dependent reactions. So, kapag walang na-produce na NADPH and ATP, makakapag-dark reaction ba siya? No. Hindi siya makakapag-dark reaction kasi it occurs immediately after the light-dependent reaction. Ngayon, kapag wala kang energies na to, then walang dark reaction na magaganap. Okay. What are the processes of light-independent reactions? Medyo complicated to. Explain ko lang ng medyo madaling-madali. Okay. This is the Calvin cycle or the dark reaction or the light-independent reaction. So it has 3 stages: the carbon fixation, the reduction, and the regeneration of the molecule. So pinakakailangan natin dito, carbon dioxide, ATP, NADPH. Okay? So let's start with the carbon fixation. Okay, so in this stage, the carbon dioxide is fixed in the air. What do we mean by fixed in the air? It means that the carbon dioxide is converted into organic compounds. So, ano yung mga organic compounds? One example of an organic compound is this. May mga C, may mga O, may mga H, yan. Tawag dyan ay organic compounds. Kung gaano man siya karami, organic compound pa rin siya. Okay. So, inaayos yung carbon dioxide para makapag-produce ng organic compounds. That is fixation. Next is the reduction. So, in the reduction, gagamit tayo ng ATP and the NADPH, which is used to convert 3-PGA to G3P. Ano yung 3-PGA? 3 molecules of PGA or phosphoglyceric acid. G3P naman is glyceraldehyde phosphate. So, para saan tong PGA and G3P? They will be needed on the next step, which is the regeneration. So, in regeneration, they use G3P to regenerate RUBP. Pag sinabi nating regenerate, gagawa ng panibago. Gagamit siya ng G3P para makagawa ng panibagong RUBP or the ribulose biphosphate. Itong ribulose biphosphate na to, kailangan yan para makapag-produce ng panibagong carbon dioxide, which is again needed for carbon fixation. So it's just a cycle of substances in the dark reaction. So ulitin ko, balik tayo dun sa unang picture. Carbon dioxide gagamitin for carbon fixation para makagawa ng organic materials. So, next step, yung ATP and NADPH, mag-undergo siya ng reduction para makabuo ng G3P and 3-PGA. That's for reduction. On the third step, gagamit siya ng G3P, which will be converted or which will be used to regenerate RUBP na magkakaroon ng panibagong carbon dioxide and the cycle goes on. Question. Okay mo yung magtanong. Okay, sige. Walang question. Gusto ko lang naman mabilis tayo eh. So, kung wala kang question, sige. Okay. Next, what are the factors that affect photosynthesis. So this will be the last topic, ha? So I hope may masagot kayo sa module nyo. Okay. Photosynthetic process requires several factors. You have the light intensity, you have the concentration of the carbon dioxide, you have the temperature, the water, and the pollution. So how do they affect the plants? First is light intensity. So the greater the light, the higher the rate of photosynthesis. Pag mas maliwanag, mas maganda ang photosynthesis. Pag mas madilim, then mas hindi masyadong maganda yung effect ng photosynthesis. Examples is this. In this picture, yung may light tayo, pero yung light nakastop lang dun sa isang place, dun sa mga plant. What happened to the sides? Wala. Hindi sila nakaka-absorb ng light. So, hindi maganda yung bunga or yung tubo ng plants na yon. On the other hand, yung light natin is medyo mataas. So, medyo mataas na cover niya lahat ng plants dun sa lalagyan. So, in short, lahat na ilawan, lahat nakapag-undergo ng photosynthesis. Gets? Hindi. Sige, gets ha? Walang nagtatanong. Bala kayo dyan. Next is the carbon dioxide. Higher concentration of carbon dioxide. Higher concentration, increase the rate of photosynthesis. So, pag mas maraming carbon dioxide sa isang lugar, mas maganda yung pag-process ng photosynthesis. So, if you're going to look at these two pictures, ito ay without CO2, ito ay with CO2. Most probably, ito, no animals or no fishes present. Ito naman, meron siyang animals. Why animals? Why yung mga fish, ma'am? Kasi animals give off carbon dioxide, which is needed by the plants. So, kung mako-compare nyo silang dalawa, medyo naka-zoom in lang tong side na to. Pero, may kita nyo na maganda yung tubo ng halaman. Ito, green na green. Ito, hindi pa lahat nakakatubo. Ito, marami na siyang mga dahon-dahon. Ito pa din siya. Okay? So, the carbon dioxide that is present from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. is adequate for photosynthesis. Next is the temperature. So, temperature that ranges from 25 to 35 degrees Celsius is efficient for photosynthesis. For example, this plant is exposed to 25 degrees Celsius na temperature. This plant here is exposed to 37 degrees na temperature. So, as you can see, itong part na to, after 9 days, maganda yung tubo niya, no? Parang bright yung green niya. Because the temperature is just perfect. However, dito sa baba, kung mapapansin nyo, after 9 days, parang nag-dark na yung color ng halaman. Bakit siya nagda-dark? It is because the moisture or the water that is stored in the plants are being dried up. Natutuyo na siya kasi sobrang init. That's why plants do not really grow in very, very hot areas. How about ng sobrang lamig? So, pag sobrang lamig naman, syempre, the plants can adapt to it. Especially for those plants that are already familiar in that area. Kagaya ng strawberries, kagaya ng lemon, kagaya ng what else, apples. Ito yung mga plants na dun lang sila sa malamig na lugar tumutubo. Pag dinala mo siya sa mas mainit, hindi na siya masyadong magbubunga. Although tutubo siya, hindi siya masyadong mamumunga. Na-gets si temperature? Question. Walang question, ha? Sige. Next is the water. Of course, you're already familiar with water. Kapag merong water deficiency or scarcity ng water, nagkakaroon ng problem for taking in carbon dioxide. So, kapag may scarcity ng water, pag kulang sa water, ang nangyayari, yung stored na water from the plant is magda-dry up or mag-use up, magagamit, then wala nang matitira sa kanya. So, dun tayo, itong part na to, ito yung medyo enough yung water niya. So, maganda yung tubo niya. Okay, may question dito. Bakit po yung light-independent reaction may end product po if cycle naman po siya? Everything is a cycle. Even yung light-dependent, cycle pa din naman siya. Paulit-ulit siyang nangyayari. So, may end product pa din siya. Bakit siya naging end product? Kasi hindi na siya magagamit ng... hindi na siya gagamitin ng plant para mag-undergo ng photosynthesis. So, kung sa light-independent reaction, ang byproduct niya ay sugar or glucose, yung sugar na yon nakastay na lang doon. Hindi na siya needed ng plant na yon for the dark reaction or the light-independent reaction. Kasi, ang kailangan lang naman niya for that process is carbon dioxide. That's it. Nasagot ko ba siya? Nasagot ko ba ng maayos? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So, okay na tayo sa water, no? Next is, or lastly, is the pollution. So, industrial pollutants and other particulates may settle on the leaf surface. Kung mapapansin nyo, kapag tumawid kayo sa may SMBF, pag nag-jaywalking kayo sa SMBF, tapos pumitas kayo ng halaman, maalikabok siya. Kasi exposed siya sa pollutants such as smoke and dust. So, syempre, medyo moist kasi yung mga use ng plants, doon nagsisettle yung mga pollutants na yon. Ngayon, pag nagsettle siya doon, there is a possibility na maharangan niya yung stomata. We all know naman, di ba, na the stomata is responsible for the respiration of the plant. Doon pumapasok yung carbon dioxide, doon lalabas yung oxygen. So, what happens kapag there is so much pollution? So, dito, ang pollution lang natin ay 5%. Medyo konti-konti pa. Maganda pa yung tubo ng plants. Same place to ha. This is beach crown. Ngayon, dito ay 25%. This is 25%. Medyo okay pa naman yung tubo niya, pero medyo dried na yung mga leaves. 45%, konti na lang yung mga nag-grow na mga leaves. Pagka 70% na yung pollution natin, ganyan na lang siya. Compare ha, ito, konti yung pollution, ito 70%. Notice the difference. So, habang tumataas yung pollution sa isang lugar, mas nagle-lessen yung activities or yung nagle-lessen yung rate ng photosynthesis for the plants. Okay? Is it understood? Any more question? I'm actually done with the topic for the week 6. I'll be forwarding the activities na lang. Tama. I'll be forwarding the slides on the messenger. Kung wala ng question, I'll exit this. And ayun, you may take a rest, you may proceed to messenger. Then you wait for the slides to be forwarded to you. Okay? Bye, everyone.